What up, people? Mr. Noland here. Alright, so today's video goes along with homework 5.1b on the back side, which is Unit 2 review. So it's everything that we covered from Unit 2 this year. On your homework, you have a few questions involving coordinate graphing. So that's what I'm going to start with, is coordinate graphing. So here's my nice little graph. Now I'm going to go back to elementary when we learned our axes. The horizontal axis is my x-axis. On the right side would be a positive x value. On the left side would be a negative x value. Your up and down vertical axis is your y-axis. Again, the numbers up would be a positive y value. The numbers below 0 or below the origin would be a negative y value. Now remember, this point right here in the center, 0, 0, is known as the origin. It is our starting spot. Okay. Now going back to Unit 2, the first thing I told y'all when you have a graph is to draw a big letter C. Just like so. Where the C starts is quadrant 1. And then follow the C. So right here would be quadrant 2. Right down here would be quadrant 3. And where it finishes up down here would be quadrant 4. Okay. Now we also talked about quadrant 1. That is when you have a positive x value and a positive y value. Quadrant 2, that's where your x value is negative and your y value is positive. Quadrant 3 is when your x value is negative and your y value is negative. Quadrant 4 is when your x value is positive, but your y value is negative. Now, whenever we're graphing, we have to move left or right before we can go up or down. So just like the alphabet, x-axis before y-axis. So let's go ahead and try and graph a couple. I'm going to go ahead and draw another graph. So I'm going to put down 4 points. So I'm going to graph those 4 points. Let's start with the first one, 2, 2. So you start at the origin. The x value is a positive 2. So on the x-axis, I go to the right 2. And then my y value is a positive 2, so I have to go up 2. So here's the point, 2, 2. All right, let's look at the second one. My x value is negative 3. So start at the origin, go on the x-axis to negative 3. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. And then it says to go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's the point, negative 3, 4. The next one says negative 1, negative 2. Again, you start from the origin. We always start from the origin when graphing. So negative 1 means to go to the x-axis to negative 1. And my y value is negative 2, so go down 2. 1, 2. There's your point, negative 1, negative 2. The last one we have has an x value of a positive 3. So from the origin, go to the right 3. And then my y value is to go down 1. So go down 1. Here is your point, 3, negative 1. And there's your coordinate graphing. Also now, in Unit 2, we talked about whole numbers. Guys, whole numbers is the number 0 and all of your positive whole numbers. So it's like you're counting numbers pretty much, including 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth. All of your positive whole numbers and 0. The next thing we talked about were integers. Integers are whole numbers and their opposites. So, an integer is a positive and negative whole number. So we can have negative 3, negative 2, negative 1. You also have to include 0. 1, 2, 3. Notice, integers, let me see if I can get my hand out of the way here. Integers are all of your whole numbers like you see here, and their opposites. So, my question is, are all whole numbers integers? Are all these whole numbers also in the integers? Yes, so that is a true statement. Now, what if I ask you, are all integers whole numbers? Well, these are all negative numbers. Do I have any negatives here? No. So you cannot work backwards. You can only go from small to big. You cannot go from big to small. And the last one we talked about were rational numbers. Rational numbers are all your whole numbers and integers, but rational numbers are also your decimals, and your fractions that cannot turn into a whole number. So there's some examples. Now let's do a few examples here. Actually, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to draw my nice little circle here. So we have whole numbers. We have integers. And we have rational numbers. Now we just set up here that all whole numbers are integers, and all integers are also rational numbers. So are all rational numbers integers? No, you cannot work backwards. So let's do a few examples here. So let's say we have So here's some examples. The number 3, where does it best fit? Well, 3 is a whole number. That's where it's best going to go. 4/5. Can that fraction be simplified to a whole number? No, it cannot. So it is a rational number. 2/1. Well, guys, what is 2 divided by 1? Well, that's just 2. So that's a whole number. -4 divided by 1. Well, first of all, what is a negative divided by a positive? Well, that's a negative. And what's 4 divided by 1? That's 4. So negative 4 over 1 is the same as negative 4. So if you have a negative whole number, where does that best fit? It best fits in the integers. So this one's now gone. 1/2. Can that fraction be simplified to a whole number? No, it cannot. 2.7. Well, that's a decimal. Decimals go with rational numbers. 0. Where does that best fit? It best fits with the whole number. 10 divided by 2. Well, guys, what is 10 divided by 2? Oh, yeah, that's just 5. So that that best fits in the whole numbers. Alright, guys, I hope this video helps you out, guiding you on your homework. Alright, guys, have a good night. Bye.